It's all in our hands, this life of time that's given to us all. It gathers round each night, each morn. We watch it pass and grow. It is all in our hands, it is all in our hands. With every field and rising sea, can hear the sounds of all, and with every change we'll always be where hope's not lost but found. It is all in our hands, it is all in our hands. It is all in our hands, it is all in our hands. And we know the change will surely come. Maybe one more trip around the sun, but we'll gather here where land meets sea, where we can be as one. And we know the change will surely come.
Good evening, everybody. My goodness, there's a lot of you here. How wonderful. Thank you for joining us this evening for the North London Hospice Light Up a Life celebration. It's really lovely to see you all here and to see some lovely familiar faces. My name is Dr. Jo Brady. I'm one of the doctors here at the hospice, and I'm the Deputy Medical Director. And I've worked here for 12 years, but last year was actually the first time I managed to come to this event because I've got kids and I'm always here, there and everywhere. But I came along last year to support Susan and Hugh Pym, who were kind and brave enough to stand up here last year. And they shared their experience of the support that we provided to Susan and her sister Marion, and actually the whole family. From the first time I met Marion and Susan, I reassured them that no matter what the future held, the hospice would be there for them, that we would support them with whatever challenges they faced, and that they weren't going to be on their own. Essentially, what I said to them is, it's our job as the hospice to wrap our arms around you and walk alongside you, no matter what. And for me, that meant during Marion's illness, but also beyond. So I came here last year, in the rain and in the wind, to fulfill that promise. I listened last year to Susan and Hugh's story, and I heard about the impact that the hospice had on their lives. And I felt so very, very proud of the team here at the hospice and the work that we do. Last year had actually been a tough year for me on a personal level. I'd had several bereavements of my own. And standing here last year on that night alongside so many other people experiencing grief actually was quite profound. I think when somebody dies, it can be quite lonely and quite isolating for those who are left behind. And so to stand amongst so many other people who understand and to have time to reflect upon those that we love, for me, was really uplifting. I think sometimes people don't always realise that the work of the hospice continues after somebody has died. And actually supporting the bereaved is an incredibly important part of what we do. A patient's widow once described her feeling of grief like being a shadow that was just always there, always with her. And that when other people were moving on, she was always there, reminded of what she was carrying. And she had to try to come to terms with her new normal. And actually, it was with the support of the hospice that a day at a time, she found that things got easier and that new normal became more manageable. People often ask me if it's hard and sad and difficult working at the hospice. And truth be told, it can be. There are those times. But actually, it's incredibly wonderful. While we might not be able to fix the thing that is happening, there is always something that we can do to support our patients and our families. We try and help people live as well as they can for as long as they have. And I can honestly say with my hand on my heart that it's an absolute privilege to do that. Death is part of life. It's the one certainty for us all, no matter who we are. And I believe that everyone has a right to excellent end-of-life care. But not everyone gets that. So here at North London Hospice, that's what we strive to provide. The best of life, at the end of life, for everyone. I think Light Up a Life is a really, really special event. It gives us all a moment to pause in our busy lives and take a moment to think of those that we love. I also feel that all of you coming here tonight feels to me a bit like you're showing your support to the hospice. You're walking alongside with us. You're supporting us through our challenges. You're standing by us no matter what happens. Many in the community depend on us, but we depend on you in the community. Ultimately, we are a charity, and it's our supporters, it's every one of you that helps us to do what we do. We live in challenging and unpredictable times, and I would go so far as to say that we need your support now more than ever. So, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight, braving the cold, and coming here, showing us your support. We really, really do thank you for all that you do. You're just fabulous. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Simon Bradbury, Spiritual Care Coordinator for the Hospice and Chaplain, and a priest in the Church of England. A poem. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I've only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way, which you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed, at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind? Because I am out of sight. I am waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just round the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
And we know the change will surely come. Maybe one more trip around the sun.
Let your little light shine, 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 and let it shine all night long. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. Let your little light shine, 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 and let it shine all night long. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. Let your little light shine, 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 and let it shine all night long. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. It may be me or it may be you. It may be a brother or a sister too. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. Oh, let it shine, oh, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, oh, let it shine. Someone down in the valley trying to get home, trying to get home. It may be me or it may be you, your brother or your sister too. Someone down in the valley trying to get home, trying to get home. Let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let it shine all night long. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. It may be me or it may be you. It may be your brother or your sister too. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home. There may be someone down in the valley trying to get home.
Try to get home.
I'm absolutely delighted to be here. My name's Rabbi Lee Wax. In the program, it says I'm Rabbi Zahavit Shalev, but she couldn't be here, so I'm delighted to stand in for her, representing the Jewish community. Been working for many, many years in the Jewish community in different contexts, as a congregational rabbi, also as an independent rabbi, which I am now, and various communal organizations. And I think it's safe to say that I barely know a Jewish family whose lives haven't been touched in some way by the North London Hospice, by the remarkable work that you do. I just want to say, before I read this beautiful poem, I want to say that we're so grateful for everything that the North London Hospice does to bring light and much needed hope to people when they most desperately need it. So thank you. Thank you for inviting us here to be part of the event, this beautiful event, and to the North London Hospice, thank you for everything that you do, and God bless the work of your hands. I'm going to read this beautiful poem by Maya Angelou, which I often use at funerals, actually. It's really moving. I love it. It's called When Great Trees Fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent on their nurture, now shrink, wizened, Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We're not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
Daylight is fading.
Thank you.
Your journey is ending. They tell me you'll never.
I would now like to welcome onto the stage Alif Kafari and his son George, who are very kindly and very bravely going to share a story for us about their family. Thank you.
I met my wife Elizabeth at Cambridge University in 1976. She was doing a postgraduate degree to become a teacher, and I was starting my PhD. She invited me to her room to read out a postcard that she was written in Farsi, received from one of her Persian students whom she had taught that summer. I never did find out whether this was a genuine serendipity or whether she had a pack of postcards in different languages to use depending on the nationality of the prospective boyfriend. A couple of years later, we moved back to London, and she started teaching at Channing School in Highgate. And a year later, we bought a house together. However, far from setting down to our new life together, my youngest sister was sent over from Iran to the UK for me to look after. Can you imagine a 25-year-old and a 23-year-old effectively becoming guardians of a headstrong 14-year-old? But Elizabeth took it all in her stride because she was Elizabeth. She was patient and selfless. She stopped working when we started having a family, 3 boys and eventually a girl, which she was hoping for. In 2001, I was offered a job in Jersey, which was too good to refuse. But it involved me living in the island for 2 years on my own before the family joined me. It's only recently that I realized I had left her in London with 4 children between 5 and 14 to feed, wash, and take to school. But I do not recall that she ever mentioned this, how hard this must have been because of that was Elizabeth. She would do whatever was required for the family.
Mum did eventually return to education, and once she had taught in almost all the girls' schools of North London, she decided to start volunteering, helping with school tours at St Paul's Cathedral and later Westminster Abbey. She loved this new environment so much that she took on a part-time role at the Abbey and spearheaded several new programmes and events. One such programme saw Year 10 students from the school I was working at do a week's work experience with Mum at the Abbey. A few years later, and a few months before Mum passed, I actually bumped into one of the boys, Ayad, who'd been on part of the programme. He'd moved on from the academy, winning a full scholarship to Westminster School, just across the road from the Abbey. He spoke of how welcoming Mum had been and how she had captured his imagination on tours. He also expressed his gratitude, as the experience he had had at the Abbey had allowed him to settle in quickly and confidently in the completely new environment at Westminster School, so different to his own upbringing. It's hard to believe that someone could create that sort of impact in just a week with a student, but that was Mum, inspiring and nurturing.
In November 20, Elizabeth began having some symptoms, and it took some tests by GP and hospital that until we were called in to Chase Farm Hospital the day before New Year's Eve to tell us that she had pancreatic cancer. As it happens, she had read an article a few years earlier about the pancreatic cancer, which had concluded that it was not curable. We were then introduced to the hospice in August 21. At the time, Elizabeth had problems with various medication and their side effects, and the hospice offered to treat her as an inpatient for 2 weeks to help her with her pain management. Elizabeth and the family were amazed by the level of help and assistance she was given by the doctors, nurses, chefs, and volunteers. She had always disliked the hospital environment, and the only time she had been there was giving birth to our children. However, after 2 weeks at the inpatient unit, Elizabeth was comfortable returning to the hospice when the time came in December that year.
The hospice cared for us with expertise and humility all the way to her last few days, and they continued supporting the family after her death. The doctors and nurses who looked after Mum were amazing. Maggie and Patricia are incredible people, especially helping Mum to reconcile what was happening with her faith, which was important to her. In the 2 years since Mum's death, we have tried to help the hospice in any way we can to ensure they continue to provide the same outstanding support to other families who find themselves in the same situation. Doing the Big Fun Walk, as well as joining another charity who run a music and literary festival in the summer, with a portion of their profit going to the hospice. Mum was such a happy and positive person. She always lit up the room with her presence. She would love to embarrass us by suddenly dancing in the kitchen when a happy song was played on the radio. She was kind and helpful to all her friends, as she was to people she was meeting for the first time. Cancer can take so much away from a person, but what the hospice provides is the care and compassion that allows people to hold on to who they were before their illness, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts for what they did for Mum. Thank you.
George, if you just wait. Thank you. I just want to say a huge thank you to Ali, George, and the rest of his family who are here today, and thank you for sharing that story. I can literally see Elizabeth dancing in her kitchen, so thank you. Okay, so now over to you guys. This is the moment where we'd like you to get your little lights and switch them on. And then together, we're going to share a moment of silence together to give us just a moment to pause and reflect on those that we've lost and loved.
So slowly retracting to only a memory remains. You must go now. Take hold of all you know now. Cold winds blow in perfect time to bring you back to me. Until then, let me sleep until the warmth of the sun is on our side. Shadows are moving. The daylight is fading. It takes with it what I want to hold. Will I remember the moments unspoken, hidden beneath amber sky?
three lights now will be turned on.
Cover yourself with a blanket, silent breathing. There are demons in your room. Don't be scared, there's no reason for the tears you shed tonight.
Hello and good evening to you. I'm Imam Abdul Barkatullah, former Imam of the Finchley Mosque. I have served this area for the last 30 years and been chaplain here. And I represent the Muslim community for today's service. And in various meetings, we have shared so many thoughts about the services and the concepts. So my poetry today is Afterglow by Helen Laurie Marshall. I would like the memory of me to be happy one. I would like to leave an afterglow of a smile when life is done. I would like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I would like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun. It is happy memories I leave you, my friend, when my life is done. Thank you very much.
So it just leaves me now to say a few thank yous before we go. So firstly, a huge thank you to our wonderful singers from the One Voice Choir and our wonderful musicians from the London Youth Concert Band. Thank you for joining us this evening. Your music's been beautiful. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to all the team at the hospice. I'm part of the clinical team, and we tend to get the thanks. But tonight, I really want to give a big shout out, actually, to the fundraising team, to my colleagues who have worked tirelessly to put this event together and many, many other events, encouraging people to come along. They do so much work behind the scenes, and it doesn't go unnoticed. We need to continue to get your support to fund the work and support the work that we do. So I just want to say a really huge shout out and thank you to the fundraising team. I'm getting a bit off piste here, but I also just want to say a huge thank you to the staff and the volunteers who've helped some of the people who are staying with us at the moment come out here so that they could be part of this celebration. So thank you. Thank you. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Ali and his family for sharing that beautiful story about love and life and his amazing wife, Elizabeth, dancing in the kitchen. It must take huge courage to stand up here and talk. I can say that from experience. But to do that when you are still coming to terms with such a loss in your life is quite incredible. And we are really, really grateful for you doing that for us today. I think hearing from you, it really, really amplifies the important work that we do for people like Elizabeth, supporting her and the families. And I know as a family, you've been on a journey and you've now become part of our family. So thank you for taking the time and having the resilience to do that and share your story today. Thank you. And last but not least, all of you. So thank you to all of you for being here, for braving the cold, coming out here, supporting us. Thank you for letting us care for your loved ones, your families, your friends. It really is a privilege. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you to the Rotary Club, who I believe have kindly provided some refreshments for us. So please, if you can, stick around, talk to one another, support one another, and enjoy some, I think, mulled wine and donuts. And have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank you very much. Take care.